Great Lawrence County Speedway. One more time down here in the infield pits. This time I'm going to catch up with a driver, this number 16 machine, Brian Konopka, and I was so happy to know I got his name on the first try I said it. But Brian, let's tell a little bit about yourself, where you're from, how you got into racing for these Lawrence folks who may not know.
Well, I'm originally from Wisconsin, and I lived about 5 miles from a little place called the Hales Corners Speedway. And I'm actually so old, I changed tires for a car with the guy that was the driver named of Konopka. So we were changing tires on his dirt car back in the day. And I went with him over to Slinger Super Speedway, and then he went on his way. In the meantime, I live 5 miles from the racetrack. I was there every Saturday night, every special, everything. And I had the pleasure of watching people like Tony Stewart, Kenny Schrader, Stan Fox, the Kinzers, you name it, we had them there in Hales Corners, Wisconsin. It was a lot like this place, a lot. Sadly, I started racing myself in 1996. I never drove anything but a late model. They said, you'll never do that. You got to drive a Sportsman first. I said, no, I'll just get in a late model. And I did. So we started late model racing in 96. 2000, the racetrack closed. I took a little bit different turn in racing. I started something called the Wisconsin Dirt Late Model Association. And what we did was, late models were dying because everybody was running $30,000 motors. So we brought a motor from down in Alabama. It was called the SUPR motor. It was a 600 horsepower motor. And we brought it up to Wisconsin. And we gave them basically the same rules you guys have here. If you run a 604 here, you basically don't have any rules, and you can have a 12-inch spoiler. We had the same rules in Wisconsin. If you ran our super motor, you could run as light as you want. You get a 12-inch spoiler. $30,000 motor, guys, come on and have it. To this day, a big motor does not want to race. As a matter of fact, they took the spoiler away from them because they couldn't beat them. So little motors are a good thing. It's really been a lot of fun to come down here. I took a break from racing when my children were growing up, and then I came down here. We moved to South Carolina in about 2008, and I waited until this year when my youngest daughters were seniors in college at Clemson to start racing again. So we're back. We're here. We're happy to be here.
That is one stellar background coming, starting with changing tires on Konopka's dirt late model. Brian, what specifically stands out? I know you gave the comparison there between the tracks up in Wisconsin down here to Lawrence. What specifically attracts you to the Lawrence County Speedway?
Lawrence is a nice little family track. That's what we had. To be honest with you, I never liked big tracks. Half miles, big crashes on half miles. Usually there's nothing left after a half-mile crash. Here, it's racy, it's small, it's fast enough to have a good time. This is what I like, smaller tracks.
I want you to plug those sponsors on this number 16 car for me.
Well, we got my business, which is BK Control Services. I just run a consulting business down here. Bailey Racing Equipment is up in Wisconsin. They're the guys that have been helping me forever, and the owner, who has passed away, was with me when we started the Wisconsin Dirt Late Model Association. So I still talk to those guys today. IMT Heat Treating, they got 2 locations, one in Duncan, one in York. If you ever need something heat treated, that's the place to go. They're the best in the business.
Brian, thank you for taking a few minutes out of your time to talk to you. I know you got a lot more work to do, and it's a little bit hot out here, so let's go find some shade.
Well, thank you. Enjoyable talking to you. I hope we have a great night.
Thank you.